Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Vicki-Lynne. I do vegan and plant-based recipes following the Starch Solution. And if you are new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and scooch on over and hit that bell icon. Today, it's Sunday, so we're doing meal prep. Everybody loves a good meal prep. We're gonna set you up for a great week to get you healthy and help you lose a little bit of weight. We are doing a little bit of soy this week. We're gonna do some tofu, and I'm making a healthy, hearty beef stew using some soy curls, but you can omit it if you're watching what you're doing and you're not adding any soy into your diet. That's not a problem. We can leave that out. I'll show you how to make some adjustments to it. So let's get started and let's get everything going so we can get in and out of the kitchen, but get set up for our week. So the first thing I'm going to do is get my potatoes going in my Instant Pot. So I'll have these for doing hash browns, fries in the air fryer, and just for my 50-50 plate. Super simple. And get our lid on. Make sure it's set to seal. And let that go. The next thing I'm going to be cooking, I'm going to be doing some sweet potatoes, and I have some of the Japanese and the regular and my beets. Now these are going to take the longest, so I have my oven preheated at 400. I'm just going to throw those in. Those are going to take at least an hour to do. I'm going to do my sweet potatoes also for breakfasts and snacks, and I might even do some sweet potato brownies. Now the other vegetables that I'm going to roast are just some squash. So I figure what I'm going to do is just have some roasted vegetables so that I can do some grain bowls this week. So I'm going to cut these a little bit smaller, and these will cook faster than the rest of the items, so I will just keep an eye on these and pull them out earlier. Just lay out our zucchini, and I'm just going to put a little bit of garlic, onion powder on this one. I also have some fennel, so I'm going to roast that up. I think I'm just going to slice it in half. So now our fennel and our zucchini are going in the oven at 400, probably for about 20 minutes. Last vegetables I'm going to roast are some broccoli. Oh, and I got this beautiful purple cauliflower at the farmer's market. It's just going to make our bowls so beautiful this week. And again, you know, we eat with our eyes, so I'm just going to roast this broccoli up. It needs to get used, so to our pot we're going to put in 1 cup of quinoa and then add 2 cups of water. So we're now just going to bring our quinoa up to a boil and let that cook for about 12 to 14 minutes. Pull it off the heat and then just fluff it. It'll be ready to go. Now I'm going to do my tofu. I have some high protein tofu. It's the Wildwood. And I'm just going to bake it in the oven just because I'm going to do bowls with my quinoa and all my baked vegetables and everything. I think I'm going to do that for my lunches with nice little dressing. I'm going to use some 5-spice seasoning for my tofu this time. I just spice it up a little bit this week. So this is a great tofu. It's nice and firm. So if you're a little iffy on tofu at the beginning of your journey going vegan, the extra firm or this high protein is a great way to start because it is extra super firm, has a better texture if you're trying to get used to the whole tofu thing. And again, super high in protein. Let me get it. Can't see anything without my glasses. So there's 70 grams of protein per package. Just trying to see what it says. 14 grams of protein per servings, and there's 5 servings per pack. There you go. Firm, you don't have to do anything with it. You don't have to press it. Has a great texture, very meaty. The other thing you can do with regular tofu is you can freeze it, and when you defrost it, it changes the texture. It makes it a lot more meatier. So I'm just gonna cube this. Probably could have found a better way to do this. Always comical here, guys. Always comical. Can't make this up. Some days it's just you're on the struggle bus. So to my container, I'm just going to add a little bit of cornstarch. Cornstarch will make it crispy, and a little bit of rice flour. You could use regular flour if you wanted to, if you're not gluten-free. Totally up to you. I'm going to add a little garlic to mine. And again, just add whatever seasonings you like. Flavor it the way you like it, because you want to eat it. You want to be happy with it, right, guys? I'm just giving, obviously, suggestions. And I just thought it'd be interesting to try those 5 spice seasonings. They have such great flavor to it. Let it mix. And then you're just gonna plop your tofu in there. Break it up. And then you want to give it a little toss. And the great thing about this firm tofu is you don't have to be super gentle with it, because it's not really going to break apart. The spices smells really good. So I just have a little prepared pan with just some parchment paper on it. I'm going to throw this in the oven with the rest of my stuff that's baking. And again, using the Instant Pot, we're using the oven. Everything's working for you, so you don't have to be doing a lot. I also love tofu with barbecue sauce. And then we're just going to throw this all on our prepared pan, and we're going to let the oven do all the work and let it get nice and crispy. And that's what that cornstarch and the rice flour will do for you. Make it nice and crispy. That'll be added. Now, if you're not doing soy or tofu, omit this step. I'm at the point, my husband loves tofu too, so anytime I can get him to kind of join in, that's where I'm at. So, as always, you do you. These are all just suggestions. Okay, so in the oven, this is gonna go. And then you might want to switch it around, turn it halfway through. So now we're going to start, we're going to make our beef stew. And again, you could just make a vegetable stew with like the beef stock, kind of the non-beef stock, of course, vegan beef stock. We're going to be using these soy curls, and I get mine, they're Butler soy curls. That seems to be the one everybody knows. They're vegan. The only ingredient in them is soy, and it's a whole non-GMO soybean. So again, I allow this in mine, doing the starch solution, and it's totally up to you. You can leave it out. Again, I just like putting a little bit in it. It makes my husband a little bit more compliant a little bit. So anyway, so these are super simple. You can get them on Amazon. That's how I usually get mine. I'm going to show you what they look like. They're just dry, and you reconstitute them. You can make beef jerky out of them. You can make chicken tenders. They morph into basically whatever you want. So I do like to break them up. I'm going to put them in a bowl. And you need to rehydrate them, obviously. So I'm just going to break them up into smaller pieces, just so that they're kind of like pieces of meat in the beef stew. They're pretty economical. And I don't have this stuff a lot, but I just thought, you know, with fall coming, I'm trying to think of new recipes and to keep things interesting here. And I thought, oh, a beef stew would be interesting. You can make it a chicken stew and just change out the broth for a chicken broth. There's so many great recipes that you can, and again, this isn't sponsored, guys. I just like, again, I use this stuff here and there, but just trying to think up some new recipes again with the fall and stuff, and I just like to how big is my bag? Can't really do that. I try not to put like you'll get some dust and stuff at the bottom. You don't want that. You just want the pieces. Okay. I'm going to say that's good. And then to that, we're going to add some vegan beef broth. So I've already constituted mine. Now you could either use the Better Than Bouillon paste. You could use the beef stock cubes. And I also have a gluten-free one, which is this KC Fine Foods, and it's a powder. I like the powder sometimes because you can adjust it to whatever you're making. So you need actually 3 cups, and it just needs to be warm, not super hot. And what you want to do is you want to pour it over your chicken, or your soy curls. And then you need a tablespoon of tamari or soy sauce. And you're just going to mix that. I'm using tamari. And then you're just going to let that constitute for 10 minutes. So just let it sit. And again, you don't want it hot, you just want it warm, just to make it to reconstitute a little bit faster. Okay, so we're gonna let that sit. So while we wait for our soy curls to hydrate, we're just going to chop up an onion. And this is just a standard stew. We're gonna have carrots and onions, celery. So I've already chopped up my celery and my carrots. And if you've been here before, you know what I'm doing with my onion skins that I have here. I'm going to put those aside, put those in the freezer, and use those for a soup stock. There we go. That's all going to go in my next soup stock. Again, you just want to dice this up. Now for my celery and my carrots, I left them in very large chunks. Large pieces, like 1-inch pieces. The celery a little bit smaller, but I do like having big chunks in my stew. Again, it's nice to have it nice and meaty, especially with the fall. Nice crusty bread, or you know, make it a full meal, obviously. So the soy curls have hydrated. They're soft. Sorry, they're soft and pliable. Now we're just going to drain off all that excess liquid. So we're just going to strain it out. And add it back to our bowl. So now to our bowl, we're going to add some garlic powder, some black pepper, and a couple of tablespoons of flour. Now you could use gluten-free flour. We're just putting the flour on so it kind of will brown in our pot. I'm going to give that a toss to coat all of the soy curls with the seasoning and the flour. So in your pot, you're going to add your onions. use fresh garlic. I'm just going to use granulated garlic here. And then you're going to add in your soy curls because we want to toast up our soy curls along with our onion. We're going to cook those on medium-high, let them toast up. You are going to get bits that are sticking to the bottom, and that's okay. You still want to just keep browning because we're not using oil, so it depends on your pan if you have a really good nonstick. And we want to just let that go until our onions soften a little bit and our soy curls brown. Now we're going to add in our vegetable stock. Give that a good stir. And you can use whatever, can, jar, make your own. You know, I always usually make my own from all my scraps. And you're just going to want to give that a stir. As it heats up, you're going to be able to deglaze your pan on the bottom. Get all those bits up because that's now where some of the flavor is going to be. Now we're going to put in our potatoes. I have about 2 cups of potatoes. I'll have the recipe. I'm going to add in my celery, my carrots. I'm just going to put in some tomato paste. I love these tubes of tomato paste. It makes life so much easier than having to open a can. But again, if you open a can, you can always freeze it, put it in a reusable Ziploc bag. I like to freeze it kind of flat. Makes it so much easier. Give that a stir. And then to that, I'm going to add some rosemary. And don't forget to kind of rub it in your fingers. Release the oils. If you had fresh, that would be great also, and some thyme. Oh, it smells so good. So now we're just going to cover this, bring it up to a boil, and simmer it for about 30 minutes until all the vegetables are nice and tender. Now, once the vegetables are cooked through, we're going to add in our peas and just a cup of peas and a cup of frozen corn. And we're just going to let that warm or cook through. Give that 3 or 4 minutes. It's thick, it's hearty, but we're going to make it nice, and we're going to make a nice thick gravy. And the way we're going to do that is we're just going to make a slurry. So in a cup, I've added a 1/2 cup of water and 1/4 cup of cornstarch. And you're just going to mix that together. Give it a second, it'll come together for you. And that's called a slurry. You want to turn up your heat a little bit. Make sure that we have a good boil going. Start with about half of your mixture, and you want to stir that in. And then you can make it as thick or as thin as you like it. Depends if you like a nice thick gravy. Now, as you add it, give it a minute or 2 to thicken up. It does take a minute for it to cook, for the heat to react to it, and to thicken up your gravy. So don't just go dump it all in. You can always add more broth, more water, thin it out. So you might not need it all. I like mine to be a nice thick gravy, and then your stew is ready. A nice, hearty, thick stew. And again, if you didn't use the soy curls, you still have a nice, you could just use the beef broth instead of a vegetable broth. Use just a beef broth, and you have a nice, thick, hearty stew for the fall time. And that's going to last you all week, guys. For lunches, suppers, you can feed a huge family on this for pennies. So we've got our meal prep done, guys. We've got our potatoes ready. So those are going to be for air fried potatoes and hash browns. We have our sweet potatoes ready, our crispy tofu, our roasted cauliflower, broccoli, our fennel, our zucchini. This is our quinoa. So we're all set to have our bowls, and I'm going to show you this week how I'm going to do that. Also our roasted beets, and our beautiful hearty beef stew for the week. Hope you've enjoyed this one. I hope you try out these recipes and eat healthy this week. Get out for a walk and have a great week, guys.